Well, today, as I always introduce this amazing podcast called Collitalks Transformative Conversations, and as your host, we are talking about a very powerful, I would say, resurrection story, the ultimate triumph over the deepest forms of excellence that has taken a journey and then another journey and then another journey. So, our guest today is Michael Bennett, a transformational coach, actor, and the founder of MAGNUM's Chronicles Coaching. Michael's journey is remarkable, and I can attest to that because have known Michael for many years now. And so, Michael once weighed 528 pounds, was barely able to walk 2 city blocks, but through radical self-honesty and his signature MAGNUM, which is M period, A period, G period, U period, M period method, he has since lost over 180 pounds and completed 7 profound 12-hour structured walks. Wow. So Michael's work is not just about weight loss, though. It's about rebuilding an identity rooted in courage, not comfort. He's on a mission to help 1 million people walk their way out of the shadows of shame and addiction, proving that transformation is possible at any age or starting point. And I love this. Michael says in his own powerful words, if I can walk my way out of hell, you can too. And as I said before, I've known Michael for quite some time, and we met through the Vancouver Film School way back. And I am just totally blessed to have him with us today and totally amazed, but not in a way that I'm not surprised of what he's done because he's been on this mission for a while. So let's step into the field of radical possibility and welcome the incredible Michael Bennett. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Collie. It's definitely been an honor following your career for the past 25-ish years since we first met at Vancouver Film School.
Right.
I'm glad to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. And I always say to my guests that my audience is now your audience, and I know they're going to love you because a lot of people are searching, right? So before your transformation, with the obesity and shame, that you've experienced, do you think it acted as a survival mechanism in any way?
How so?
Well, in order to survive, sometimes we cling to what the subconscious has been programmed to believe, right? Because the subconscious wants to keep us in the familiar.
Yeah.
And it wants to protect us. Well, you know about protection because I remember one day at the film school when I was teaching, you actually walked with me because it was a form of protection because of the fact that the area was not safe, right?
Yeah.
So the subconscious does that to all of us. It wants to keep us safe. It wants to keep us in the familiar. And so it basically does that to keep us in survival.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I mean about that, with regards to, do you think it acted as a survival mechanism for you?
Yeah, definitely. Especially in my career, because I've been a bouncer in bars and nightclubs for the past, May long weekend of 2026 would be my 30th year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I was doing a seminar a couple years ago. I was working for a digital marketing company, searching SEO or search engine optimization to HVAC companies. And I attended a business seminar, and the facilitator was talking about the very first memory that you have and
Right.
how that memory helps shape the rest of your life. So my first conscious memory is getting beaten up by my older brother.
Oh, okay then.
So it would logically make sense that my first conscious thought is, I want to be bigger than him so that I can beat him up, so that I'm safe.
Right. Exactly.
And me and my older brother, we got into a fight. It seems like we fought every day growing up until I was about 12 or 13 years old, and then I just stopped automatically one day.
Hmm.
And I didn't find out until about 10 to 12 years ago why that was. And it was because my punches were starting to hurt.
Oh,
And my
interesting.
older brother knew that if he continued picking on me, that eventually he's going to get his ass kicked.
Right.
So then he's like, well, you're the older brother, you're my baby brother.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like, yeah, it's my turn. So I did that for like a day or two. And I'm like, no, I don't want to be a jerk like my older brother. I don't want to be that brother to my little brother. So I didn't beat my little brother up. And
Mm-hmm.
then getting into football in grade 12, I was 6'7", 310 pounds. The next biggest person on the team was like maybe 250, 260 pounds.
Wow.
I didn't know anybody that was over 300 pounds that time. And then fast forward to, bouncing. Ever since I was 15 years old, I've been known as Big Mike.
Right.
So big has been part of my personality, my persona for so long. And it's all definitely a protection mechanism because I'm the biggest guy in the bar.
Right.
And who am I if I'm not the biggest guy in the bar?
Right.
So I've
Exactly.
always been the biggest in the room since I was 15 years old.
Mm. Interesting, because you, in some way, you answered my next question. I was going to say, with regards to that weight, that you did carry before, that it actually was serving. And also, too, there is such a thing in my work called hidden loyalties. So, you know, for you, when you mentioned about your brother, it was serving you to protect yourself, but also, with your brother to basically, say, hey, bro, this is not the way it's going to work here, right? So, yeah. And, sometimes hidden loyalties can be such that they create tremendous pain and struggle. And, they're a family pattern that, can make smallness feel safe. But in your case, it was the bigness that felt safe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm just amazed because you went from being barely able to walk to completing 7 12-hour structured walks. Like, I might not just go 12 hours. Like, wow. And so what did you have to surrender in order to embody that new level of physical commitment and movement? Because that's huge in terms of, you know, the movement, 12 hours, like that's a long, long time.
Yeah. Basically, I'd say I had to surrender. Well, I had to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mm. Mhm.
Because when I first started out, I could only walk 2 blocks before I'd have to stop and rest. And my cousin's daughter, Sheila, she posted on Facebook that she'd lost 135 pounds in like 18 months. And I'm like, well, we got similar DNA. Like, if you can do it, I can do it. So what is it that you did?
Right.
And she said that she did a carnivore diet 90% of the time and then a lot of walking.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, what do you mean a carnivore diet 90% of the time? She's like, well, when she'd go to a function with family or friends, she'd eat like everybody else so she didn't look weird. But then the
Right.
very next meal, she's back on the program.
Oh, okay.
And for me, anytime that I've started a diet in the past, like I've done pretty much everything. I've done vegetarian, vegan, paleo, Mediterranean, Atkins, and then eventually getting onto the carnivore diet. I always had to be perfect.
Mm.
And the moment that I wasn't perfect, then I'd pull out the metaphoric bat and start hitting myself over the head. I'm stupid. I'm lazy. I'm not good enough. And
Right.
eventually, I'd slide back to the old patterns. And then that diet didn't work for me. So it's just like eventually the weight goes back on. And then just the willingness to try something completely different and radical
Right.
because, my entire life, red meat and saturated fats have been demonized.
Yes, for
They're
a
the
lot of people.
enemies.
Right.
So never go into that realm. And I've tried everything else. So let's try, if I were 20 pounds, I'd given up hope of ever being able to lose weight. I had one foot in the grave and I was basically just waiting to die,
Wow.
you know?
Wow.
And I'm like, well, I've got nothing else to lose. Let's try this radical approach. And within the first 15 days,
Mhm.
there's a noticeable difference in my energy.
Mm,
Within 30 days, I noticed a reduction in inflammation and pain.
right.
And then it was just in the past, one of the things mistakes I would make would be I would want to set a goal of I'm going to walk an hour a day, 7 days a week, and that's it. But the one time that I missed that first the first committed walk of walking an hour,
Mm-hmm.
well, the old back comes out and started hitting myself on the head like, I'm a loser. I'm not good enough. I can't even honor my own goals to myself. But during the pandemic, when I was doing the SEO sales, I was taught to really reduce the size of the goals,
Right.
make them stupidly easy to accomplish. That way, you start building up these habits and stacking on top of each other. So instead of setting the goal of I'm going to walk for an hour, set the goal of I'm going to walk for 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Because as soon as you walk for 5 minutes, goal accomplished. But
Exactly.
am I going to stop walking now? No, I'm going to continue on for 55 more minutes. But building up those habits and stacking them on top of each other, of little win after little win after little win,
Mm-hmm.
it boosts up the confidence.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. It's that consistency, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then focusing on like improving 1% a day, or, like if I can improve from 5 minute walk to going for 7 minutes and then pushing it to 10 minutes. And then 10 minutes becomes 15, 15 becomes 20, 20 becomes a half hour becomes 45 minutes, 90 minutes. The next thing you know, I'm like, hey, let's see if I can walk from my house to my friend Rich's place over New Westminster. I'm guessing it's probably a 5, 6 hour walk.
Wow. Okay.
Let's try. And then I did it. And then, I gave him a call and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He was, nothing. Why? And I'm like, want to go grab a burger? It's like, okay. Like, I'm going to find your house. Come get me. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I just did a 6 hour walk.
I love it. I love it. Oh my God, that's incredible. So you're, what about your first 12-hour? Like, where did you walk?
So I live over North Burnaby by Brentwood Mall. So I
Okay.
walked from Hastings to Wellington, all the way down Hastings to Stanley Park, then
Mm,
around the seawall around Stanley Park,
beautiful.
then up Davie Street to Gravel Street. I popped into the Morrissey pub where I used to work as a bouncer.
Okay.
I had a couple of ginger ales. Then I'd walk to the bus, and then I'd hop on the bus and go home.
Oh my goodness. So that's 12K.
No, that's 50 kilometers.
Oh, 50 kilometers. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's 12 miles. Oh, okay. Wow.
No, it's 30 miles, 50 kilometers. I average about 5 kilometers an hour.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then
Amazing.
I chose Hastings because it's got bus stops, and I knew I was going to have to stop and rest. So I
Mm-hmm.
just stop at a bus stop and rest for whatever I need to do, and stretch out my calves and my hamstrings and my glutes, take a little bit of a rest, drink some water. When I first started doing the 12-hour walks, I'd bring food with me.
Right.
Now, because I eat one meal a day or OMAD, I'll have a large breakfast,
Okay.
and then I'll just carry water with me because I don't have to worry about, going to the bathroom, or if I got to go to the bathroom, it's usually just pop into a gas station or a Starbucks to go pee. Don't have to
Mm-hmm.
do any number two. So it just makes things a lot more economical that way.
Yeah. And I really go back to when I was teaching at this film school, and any teaching I've done, moving forward, what you said about, the would haves, could have, should haves, and then just give up. And it's like, yeah, okay, loser, right? I call it the itty bitty shitty committee. I did way back then, and I still do, because it's a knitter natter, pitter patter, right? That it comes from the subconscious not wanting you to change because it wants you to stay the same, because that's how it knows you. But you worked it through and out of that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, really powerful, Michael. I'm so, so happy for you. So proud of you. Like, wow. I was thinking about your coaching, focusing on rewiring beliefs and mastering emotions. And so, how do you help clients differentiate between an emotional block that is personal and an emotional block that may be coming from somewhere else, not so much that it's an emotion, but it's that it's actually a belief that's been borrowed from maybe someone else. So how do you differentiate that?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm still in the process of setting up the coaching business and sort of learning how to do things.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I've got to have the experience of coaching that I have in the past is I used to coach high school football.
Right. Well, that's
I
huge.
After
Yeah.
my football career ended, within about 2 years, I started coaching high school football. And then, well, 10 years ago, I started coaching high school football here in North Vancouver.
Oh, great.
And so, as far as this goes, I'm still going through the learning process.
Mhm.
But one of the things I'm working on is Blair Dunkley. He's got a process called the mind models.
Okay.
And so one aspect of it is called the 3 E's. So it's effective versus ineffective, external versus internal, and evaluation versus judgment.
Oh, I like it.
So when it comes to anything like when you first wake up in the morning, you want to identify like what's the first thought that I have in the morning.
Okay.
So the first thought that comes up is I'll probably fail again.
Okay.
So the first part of the 3 E's is effective versus ineffective. Is that effective thought or is it an ineffective thought? Well, it's
Mm,
an ineffective thought because it's sort of setting me down for the path of negativity.
right.
I'll probably fail. So then what is a more effective way of looking at that is, well, what worked yesterday, I can repeat and it should work again today.
Mhm.
So then I'm already starting off now. I'm reframing it. So I'm no longer focusing on the negative mindset. It's now focusing on the positive mindset.
Right.
And then is it, when it comes to something like a craving and how you respond to it, did I respond to it effectively or could I have chosen something different? Is like the other night I was at Safeway and I'm like, for some reason I had a craving for apple pie and I haven't had apple pie in a very long time. So it's like, well, I could have it, but is the choice to have it now, is it going to be effective or ineffective in helping me reach my target weight of 240 pounds? Well, it's an ineffective choice. So put that aside.
Oh, wow. I love
And
it.
then you evaluate yourself. Is it, am I judging myself by putting it aside? No, it's making a conscious decision. So I'm evaluating that, yeah, I made the right choice, put that aside.
Right.
And then it's an external versus internal thing. It's, well, internally, I really want it. Externally, it's going to make me feel crappy. So put it aside, don't need it, move on.
Wonderful.
So working on approaching things from that perspective, as well as I just went through the landmark form recently.
Mhm.
Yeah. You familiar with the landmark form?
Very much, yeah.
Yeah, so I learning about my rackets and my blind spots, and that's where I really realized that I've been running with this racket since I was 4 years old of not being good enough.
Right.
And I know the moment it happened was my dad came home from work and he was in a bad mood. And as a 4-year-old, I hadn't seen him all day, and I'm happy to see my dad. So I ran over to my daddy, question after question after question. He's in a bad mood. And he looked at me and he told me, Mike, shut the fuck up and stop asking so many stupid effing questions.
Yeah, that would do it.
And in that moment, I'm like, the center of my universe, my God just told me I'm stupid. And I ask stupid questions.
Right.
Well, what's a smart question to ask, Daddy? I can't ask that because I asked stupid questions. That was a stupid question.
Mhm. Mhm.
That creates this never-ending cycle of, well, I can't ask a question, or I want to ask a question, but I don't know. I can't ask that question because it's a stupid question.
Yep.
So then getting into sales, you have to ask a lot of questions.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So that was very challenging for me, as well as the fact that my mom, she has the gift of the gab, and she asks like umpteen thousand questions all the time. But I could lean on that. Like I could go to my mom and ask my mom about, asking questions and being really inquisitive and curious like she is.
Mhm.
But she takes it to the extreme where it becomes annoying and say, okay, well, I don't want to ask questions like my mom. I don't want to be annoying like that. So I'm stuck. And it just keeps me stuck in the pattern of not being good enough. Wanting my dad's appraisal. All I wanted to hear my dad say was, Mike, I'm proud of you.
Yeah, exactly.
But what
Absolutely.
and so I bust my butt and I like in grade, I think it was grade 11 or grade 12ish, and I was struggling in science, and my dad knew it, and I busted my butt and I got my marks up, and we had a pop quiz and I got 100% on it, and I'm like
Wonderful.
convinced today is the day that Mike is going to tell me, Mike, I'm proud of you. You got 100%. It's the best you could do. What
Yeah.
more can I say? I know you're struggling and you did it. You pulled it off. I'm proud of you. And so I went home and I laid the exam on the table in front of my dad, and he looked at it. He looks up at me and I'm like, here it comes. And he said, is that the best you could do?
Oh, wow.
And he'd always say that.
Mm.
And it's like, Dad, it's 100%. Yes, it's the best that I could do.
Can't do any
And
better
then,
than that.
and then his personality, in his mind, he was teasing me. And he's like, well, you could have gotten a bonus mark.
Oh, right.
And like, I have any control over that. So that was the moment that my spirit got crushed. And I knew that I'm never going to hear my dad say, Mike, I'm proud of you. Because if he can't say, Mike, I'm proud of you for getting 100% on an exam when I know you're struggling in the subject,
Hmm.
he's never going to say, Mike, I'm proud of you.
No, no.
So I gave up hoping and trying to get my dad to say, Mike, I'm proud of you. And then about 12 years ago,
Hmm.
my younger brother, he started up a cleaning business with his wife, which doesn't make any sense because he was the messiest kid in the house.
Well,
For him to own a cleaning business is like, okay, well, he's done a complete 180
a shadow.
and he became a multimillionaire in the process.
Wow.
And I was present when my dad said to my little brother, Kevin, I'm proud of you.
Oh, right.
And I started crying.
Of course.
And they
Who
both looked at me
wouldn't?
like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, that's all I ever wanted to hear from you, Dad, is Mike, I'm proud of you. He goes, well, I am proud of you. I'm like, no. You just cheapened the effect because you told me because you know I wanted to hear it,
Right.
not because it came from the heart in the moment of, Mike, I'm proud of you. You said it
Right.
because you feel guilty, not because it came from a place of honesty.
Exactly. Exactly. It's so true. And that all ties in with, the subconscious, right? In those moments, as a child, that became a pattern for you, and the subconscious, it was so familiar that it kept repeat rewind because of the fact that it honestly wanted to make you feel safe by knowing that that was what was coming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you though, you obviously know, our parents, bless them. They, and I don't say they did the best they can, but I am saying that they do have inherited epigenetics as well as ancestral stuff that I work with that, actually comes down the line and does a thingy like it did with, your dad and you. But, Mike, you rebuilt your identity in courage, right? And so
Yeah.
can you define the difference between the ego's identity, the one that chose comfort before, and the congruent identity, the one that chose to walk.
I think it boils down to the realization of I've been wanting external validation from someone like my dad
Hmm.
versus I don't need that. All I need is to be proud of myself and my accomplishments.
Right.
So in doing anything now, it's like, is it challenging? Hell yeah.
No, of
Does it
course.
scare me? Absolutely. If it doesn't scare me, then it's not even worth pursuing because nothing's going to change. I'm not going to try to put my best into it because, well, it's not scary. So I'm not going to try harder. So letting go of my ego and just plodding ahead and like looking at what I can do and who I can help and just keep moving forward and taking taking the moment back, looking at the size of the mountain that I'm planning on climbing and being okay. Yeah, that's a pretty massive undertaking.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
look at the next step and then just keep looking, you know, 5 feet ahead and just keep moving forward.
Absolutely. It's interesting because I was thinking in terms of way back when. I was going to ask you how did the physical trauma, right, of being the weight you were, unblock and reignite your creative, because I know you're very creative. So how did it unblock and reignite your creative soul purpose? Like, even as a, I don't know if you're still acting, but you're definitely a wonderful storyteller. So how did it reignite your creative soul purpose?
So I'm friends with a guy named Sir Darren Jacqueline,
Mhm.
and I initially met him 2008, 2009, and he had a nickname. He was known as the Mega Manifester. Basically,
Mm.
he would set intention, and he like for example, he drove by a rather large property in Delta, and he said, "I would love to live in there one day."
Oh,
I
okay.
think it was about 9 to 10 months later, he ended up living in that place because
Wow.
he made connections with people, and he just happened to make the right connection and found out that, oh, you happen to own that place. And he's like, well, I drove by there like 9, 10 months ago, and I made the intention of I'd like to live here one day. And I don't remember exactly how he ended up, but he ended up moving in there.
Oh, wow. Brilliant.
And so he pretty much he's got the best Rolodex of anyone I know on the planet. He knows practically everybody.
Right?
he's friends with he's got mentors who are billionaires, and he's in the process of becoming a billionaire himself. How did I get started on this? About Darren.
Because we're talking about reigniting your creative soul purpose. Yeah.
Reigniting the soul purpose and the passion and the creativity. So Darren, he's been doing he set up a hiking group about 4 years ago. They hike every day. And he extended an offer to me to join it. And I was like, well, I was 528 pounds at the time. I'm like, I'm way too heavy to come join your hiking group. But I told him as soon as I lose the first 100 pounds, I want to come do a hike. And so I lost 112 pounds. I reached out to him and he said, well, let's go do the West Lake hike. It's in West Vancouver, or the White Lake hike. It's in West Vancouver. Him and his group could do it in about 2 hours. I figured, well, I was 416 pounds, probably take me 5, maybe 6 hours to complete it. I wasn't factoring in that I had atrial fibrillation at the time and that I might have an AFib attack, which happened an hour into the hike.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But having gone through experiencing atrial fibrillation, when I have an AFib attack, it feels like I'm climbing the last 500 meters of Mount Everest. My heart is racing. Like my heart rate could jump up to as high as 210 beats a minute. And then drop down to 35 beats a minute.
Whoa.
And then fluctuate anywhere in between. The longest I did it was for 4 days straight.
Right.
Last year, 2024, just before my birthday, the day before my 51st birthday, I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and by 7 a.m., my heart was at 184 beats a minute.
What?
And it stayed at 140 beats a minute for over 36 hours straight.
Oh my God. So what did you do? I mean, what did they do?
Well, so after that, I'm like, well, I got to go to the hospital. I got to get this checked out, see if they can do something. So I went to the hospital and they gave me some propofol to help relax me. And they told me that they're going to do a cardio version where they put the paddles on the chest and shock me. And they warned me that it's going to feel like I got kicked in the chest. So I'm like, okay. So they wait an hour and then they're about to shock me. Literally a minute before they shocked me, I went back into normal rhythm.
Oh, I love it.
So I escaped that one. But then, so this is on a Thursday. And then my cardiologist, I was on 3 medications. He took me off of one of them.
Right.
One of them was blood thinners. And then normally when they take you off the medication, they normally take you off of both medications that I was on for my heart. And he only took me off of the one. And then on Tuesday, I ended up going back to the hospital because now my heart rate was too low. My Apple Watch is telling me heart rate is at 35 beats a minute. Heart rate is at 30 beats a minute. I'm like, it ain't much closer to stopping. So go to the hospital. And they realized that the one medication that I was still on, I shouldn't have been on. So they took me off of that. Spent the night in the hospital, 24 hours of observation. Heart rate was fine. It went back up to like 75 beats a minute, which is normal. And it sent me home.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, wow. So how?
But doing the 12-hour walks, it came from like changing my identity, my self-image on the 11-hour. It ended up being an 11-hour hike.
Okay.
And by the end of it, I realized that I'd never once thought about stopping or turning back, despite my heart being an AFib, because at that point I'd lived with AFib for about 11 to 12 years.
Okay.
I was used to it.
Right.
Despite the fact that it feels like you're about to die and there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm like, either I'm about to die and they call in search and rescue and haul my carcass up by helicopter, or I'm going to make it to the very end. And I made it to the very end. And by the time I got to the end, I was like, wow, I never once thought about stopping. I never once thought about turning back.
Amazing.
I would walk 50 feet and then I stop and rest. And then I'd go 50 feet and I stop and rest. And that made me realize that doing a 12-hour walk was actually possible because I didn't have to walk the entire time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And then by completing the first 12-hour walk, it's like my whole self-image really began to change because I was no longer a 528-pound guy. Yes, I was 416 pounds, but I was no longer behaving and acting like a 400-pound guy because I just did an 11-hour hike across the mountain.
Yeah.
And then I'd already done a 6-hour walk from my place to my friend Richard's place. So the athlete in me was starting to wake up again.
Oh, wonderful. I love it.
And then June and July of 2024, I was hanging out at the Morrissey pub, and these group of 6 or 7 really big, muscular guys walk in, and as a bouncer, I'm like, okay, they're obviously knows because of their size and their build, so there's somebody to keep an eye on for
Mhm.
potential threats. But my friend Richard, he recognized a bunch of them because Richard is also an actor, and he worked doing special ability extra work, SWAT team, military type roles, and he worked on movies with a bunch of these guys. And he's like, these guys are all stunt guys.
Oh,
I'm like, cool. Well,
okay.
I want to go and get to know these stunt guys really well because who knows, a guy my size, you never know, there could possibly be some kind of role that I could get my foot in the door and get a bit of a stunt actor career going on.
Mhm.
So I started talking to these guys. One of these guys looked really familiar. Like I didn't know who he was, but he had a very unique look about him, which made him familiar.
Right.
So I started talking to him, and he mentioned his name is Tanoi Reed. I had no idea who he was until I Googled him a little bit later. And as soon as I realized who he was, it's like, okay, he's Dwayne Johnson's first cousin and stunt double.
Oh my goodness.
All right,
Wow.
this is pretty
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Dwayne Johnson's, but it's
Right.
also there's a I do a daily habit, and I listen to some different audios. And one of those audios that I listen to is Dwayne Johnson talking about his inspiration.
Mhm.
And it comes through football, and there's a really powerful connection, which I really like. And I was just randomly going through some audios one day, and it popped up, and I listened to it. I'm like, I've got to listen to this every day. He was talking about when he played football because his whole dream was to play professional football, same as
Okay.
mine.
Yeah.
And his football career ended early, and he ended up getting he played for the Calgary Stampeders. He got cut from the team. He had $7 in his pocket, and he went home. And then in the audio, he talks about how on the football team, there's like 12 players, and he was always like the 13th, and he was never good enough. On the entire football team, he was always number 54. And the
Okay.
54th person is like just 52 or 53 people on a team. So 54th is you're not making the team. So he was
Oh,
always number 54.
right.
And he was talking about how you put so much time, energy, and effort into something, you get so close, and then he basically told you you're not good enough, go away.
Right.
Some people will use that as an okay, you know what, I'm not good enough, or you'll use it as fuel. And so he used that as fuel to, for the wrestling career that he had, and then what he learned from that, putting into the acting career. Now, when I played high school football, my number was 54.
Oh my God. No
So that was speaking
coincidence.
directly to me, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So listening to that and like, how can I use the belief that I'm not good enough to fuel what I can fully, accomplish? And by completing the 12-hour walk, it really began to shift my mindset, my self-image, and also was opening up for me, creating a possibility mindset.
Oh, wonderful. I love it because there are no such things as coincidences, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the 54 for sure. Oh my God, that's wonderful. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Oh, wow. So, your creative dream, I know over the years, the feature film Magnum, right?
Yeah.
And the origins, is a symbolic full circle moment. So, how did healing the physical trauma, right? I know you mentioned how it unblocked and reignited your creative soul purpose, but how did it help you to take radical responsibility, right? Because now you are asking people to do the same, right? Because if we don't, we just may as well stay home and eat
Yeah.
eat Doritos and ice cream. So 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 you're asking people to take radical, responsibility. And for those who are constantly looking for external solutions, how do you guide them toward the inner awareness, that you came to know? Because that really is like you did your own detective work and, researched and got to know you and what works for you and all this. So how do you guide people and help them with that solution that lies solely within their own system?
So when it comes to doing that kind of stuff, I've got some audio programs that I listen to,
Hmm.
which really help building up my own personal belief in myself.
Right.
So, having the belief or the self-limiting belief of I'm not good enough,
Hmm.
that really holds me back in a lot of things in my life. And understanding the power of belief. So I came across an audio on YouTube, Dr. John Lipton. I've tried to go back and try to find the actual YouTube video that I watched.
Right.
I haven't been able to find it, but he talks about the power of belief, and he talks about, I think it's like a like Christian fun, like some kind of like Christian group in the southern United States,
Okay. Yeah.
and how they believe that they're protected by the Spirit of God
Right.
so strongly that they can drink toxic amounts of strychnine
Oh, wow.
and it has no effect on them
Oh my gosh. Wow.
because their belief that they're protected by the Spirit of God is so strong
Right.
that it just has no effect on them. And he talks about how, despite the fact that he knows this, he will never drink strychnine because his power of belief isn't as strong as their power of belief.
Fair enough. Absolutely. I like it because somebody who is really, really honest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we we sometimes tell ourselves a lie, and that lie can keep the merry-go-round wheel going around and around, loop-de-loo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you that question about the lies. What lies did you have to surrender in order to embody, because you have the new level of commitment and movement? Because there
Yeah.
was a lie there. So, what lie did you have to surrender?
I think the lie that would have been surrendered in that case is around the whole not being good enough.
Okay.
It's like when I started thinking about starting up a coaching program, imposter syndrome pops up. And
Oh,
it's
of
like, well,
course.
I don't have the certifications. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a degree in nutrition or biology. So who's going to take my advice?
Lots of
But
people
then,
will.
this is where the three E's from the mind models kicks in,
Hmm.
and it's like, well, okay, I'm judging myself. I'm not evaluating myself based on my accomplishments. I'm just judging myself because I lack credentials in a certain area. But so that thought is an ineffective thought because it's limiting myself.
Right.
So reframing it is, well, why would someone listen to me who doesn't have a degree on a wall? Is because I have physical proof. I've lost over 180 pounds.
Exactly. Exactly.
So who would you rather listen to? Someone who's gone to medical school for 8 years and spent maybe 20 hours on nutrition in the
If
8 years of
that.
medical school,
Yeah.
who doesn't embrace what they're trying to tell you to do because they are obese themselves as a doctor, or are you going to trust someone who's lost 180 pounds?
Right.
Someone who's, you know, the rubber met the road and I put in the time, energy, and effort. And I was someone who 3 years ago didn't believe what I just accomplished was capable from someone like me.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
fact that I've done it and I did it in a way that's one against everything that I was taught, because what I've learned over the past 2.5 years, and this is a big thing, is the very one of the very first things that I teach people is there's a big scary wake up call that you have to come to realization with is usually as a morbidly obese person, for me, it was I have atrial fibrillation and that could kill me. I could have a stroke at any time if that
Right.
doesn't get fixed. There's also at 4 o'clock in the morning after work one night, me and Richard were walking back to his car. We came across three guys, early 20s, picking on a guy, late teens, early 20s. And before I hit my growth spurt, I was bullied and picked on, so I have a soft
Hmm.
spot for people being bullied.
Right.
And I walked up to the ringleader and I threw a punch at his head, intending to scare him off. And in my experience, he should have, backed off and gotten afraid, because at the time I was 6'6", 520 pounds. He was maybe 5'8", 5'9", 180 pounds.
Wow.
So for him to be picking on somebody, then me walk up and go to pick on him, but he started laughing at me and taunting me and challenging me to a fight.
Oh,
My
wow.
experience as a bouncer at that time, 26, 27 years in, I know how much energy it takes for a 30-second fight. And I'm like, it takes me, I have to stop and rest after 2 blocks, and I've walked about a block and a half now. Do I have the energy for a 30-second fight? Maybe.
Maybe. Right.
If there's a knife involved,
Oh,
hell no, because I'll probably end up getting stabbed. Because of my atrial fibrillation, I was on blood thinners. I'm still on blood thinners, so if I get stabbed,
you're going to
I'm
bleed.
not going to be clotting anytime soon. So I'm likely going to definitely go to the hospital and probably end up dead.
Right.
So for someone who's morbidly obese, it's usually a health scare that triggers you into action in I've got to change things because if I don't, I'm going to die.
Right.
The thing that I've come across talking to other people in the weight loss coaching industry is prevention doesn't work. You can try to prevent them. You can throw them all the roadblocks that this is going to happen. But unless they have that actual scare, they're not going to take action because they're not committed because the stakes aren't high enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I'm working on is educating people to the fact that big food, big pharma,
Mm-hmm.
and big medicine have all been working together to keep us all fat, sick, and unhealthy.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
if we're all sick and unhealthy, all three of those industries are making money.
Mhm, yeah, it's the wheels on the bus go round and around.
Yeah, like it goes back to like the 1950s when Ansel
Yep.
Keys, he did a 7-country study, which actually he did a 22-country study, but 15 of those countries didn't fit the mold that he was trying to go with. So he cut them out. And then he's the one who came out with red meat and saturated fat are bad for you. Then in the 1970s, started coming out with snacks. So
Mhm.
then marketing is like, well, you know, having a snack twice a day is a good thing for you. And then in the 1980s, when big tobacco companies started buying up the big food companies and taking their addiction scientists from tobacco and putting them into making food addictive.
Right.
And that's when you look at the trend in the 1980s is when morbid obesity really began to explode. If you look back in the 1960s, if you wanted to go find a morbidly obese person, you had to go to the circus because they're a rarity, an oddity.
Yeah,
Now,
right.
if you want to find a skinny person, you almost have to go to the circus because,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's gone to the other end of the extreme.
Yeah, it's swung the pendulum has swung. I mean, it's really sad, and I mean, it is sad when you see and I see a lot of young people, you know, it's just you go, "Wow, what future do you have if you don't" and they can't because they live at home and they are under mom and dad's care, which is great. But at the same time, mom and dad are usually so busy making whatever they believe they're making to do whatever with. And now with the food prices that they are, but it's interesting. I find that you can eat, and I know this from my daughter and I, that you can eat not expensively, but very healthfully if you really do your research. And yeah, sure, organic costs and all this other stuff. But if you're not buying the junk food in the Starbucks and you're not doing all that stuff, that cuts a lot of cost out.
Yeah, definitely. Like
Yeah.
so once I started eating one meal a day, that's when I realized how affordable the carnivore diet actually is because
Mhm.
when you eat 3 meals a day and then you throw in snacks on top of that and you're having a lot of carbohydrates, the carbohydrates keep you hungry.
Oh, absolutely.
So once I started doing one meal a day, and then I started also throwing in alternate day fasting. So I would have my one meal on Sunday at 6 p.m.
Mhm.
Then I would fast all day Monday, and I'd have my next meal at 4 p.m. on Tuesday.
Mhm.
And then I'd have my one meal then, and then I'd fast all day Wednesday, and then I'd eat Thursday at noon,
Right.
and then fast all day Friday, and then I'd eat Saturday at 10 a.m. When I first started doing the alternate day fasting, and that was actually when I first started doing OMAD, it was day number one. I had 450 grams of cooked ground beef, 4 grams of butter, 4 strips of bacon, and I think like 3 or 4 eggs.
Mhm.
And then I started feeling hungry 10 hours into it. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to increase something. So I increased the ground beef from 450 to 550 grams of ground beef and the butter from 4 grams to 6 grams. I didn't feel hungry until 20 hours into it on day number two. And then by day number three, I didn't start feeling hungry until I was making my next meal 24 hours later.
Wow.
But it was when I was making that meal that I realized something absolutely profound just happened. It was the first time in conscious memory
Mhm.
that I hadn't thought about food once for that
Wow.
24-hour period. And that taught me the power of like the the carnivore diet, the all meat based diet,
Mhm.
cutting out the carbs. Carbs is what keeps us hungry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then I started doing alternate day fasting, and I was working towards doing a 72-hour fast. Things were going really well, but then I made a monumental mistake 48 hours before I started the 72-hour fast, I had 2 slices of bread.
Oh, okay.
And then I started the 72-hour fast 48 hours later. And those 2 slices of bread threw my whole body out of whack.
Mm-hmm.
So that by the 10th hour into my 72-hour fast, I was feeling hungry.
Yeah.
So I started drinking water, because one of the things I learned early on in doing the carnivore diet is signals from the body. I get a signal, I think it's my body telling me that I'm hungry, so I'll eat. That's been the pattern my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
As I started the carnivore diet, I'm like, I'm only going to eat twice a day. So I get a hunger signal, I'm not eating. But if I don't consume something, I'm going to have the signal and it's going to drive me crazy. So I drink a liter of water. An hour would go by, I'm not hungry. 2 hours go by, I'm not hungry. 3 hours go by, I'm not hungry. Oh, that was my body telling me that I'm thirsty, not that I'm hungry.
Oh, wow. I love
But
it.
I only have been able to interpret that signal as I'm hungry because that's the only way I knew it was communicating with me.
Right.
So I get that signal, I eat, signal goes away. The next time that happens is the next day. I get the hunger signal, I drink a liter of water. 2 hours go by, not hungry. Okay, it was water. Keep doing that. And eventually one day, I get the signal, I drink water. Half hour later, I'm getting that signal. Drink a little bit more water, getting that signal. Okay, my body's telling me, you're not thirsty this time, you're hungry. So you just, drink some water. I'm not hungry, or I am hungry. Just learning how the signals that the body communicates with is the same as acting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I grew up shy
Right.
because of not being good enough with my dad.
Right.
And like, it was so bad that in grade 9, I was so afraid of public speaking. I had to do an oral presentation in front of the class in language arts about Roman gladiators. Absolutely loved the subject, but terrified of getting up in front of the class because I would get the sweaty palms, I get the dry mouth, the nervousness, self-consciousness, the whole deal.
Right.
This is back in the days when you'd go from homeroom and then you go from class to class to class with everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I skipped language arts for 6 weeks
Oh my gosh.
because I was terrified of doing this oral presentation. And then my teacher eventually caught me and she's like, okay, well, here's the deal. You're going to show up to the next class and you're going to do the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't show up to the next class, you get the joy of doing grade 9 all over again.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
big pain.
Big.
I don't want to do grade 9 over again. Doing the presentation is less painful, so I get up and I do it. And, got the sweaty palms, clammy, everything. And then the next time is in grade 12. I got to do an oral presentation on the book The Great Gatsby. We did a little skit of Siskel and Ebert. We pulled in the TV, VHS, and we showed a couple clips of the movie. And then we did a little book critiquing the whole deal. But the lights came on, froze again. Then in university, I had to do another oral presentation on something. It had to be 15 minutes long. Rehearsed my butt off. Day comes, I get up for the class, I do the presentation. I got every word in 4.5 minutes.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
One hand went up, and I'm like, any questions? One hand goes up, and he's like, yeah, man, what the hell did you just say? Because I was like the micro machines guy, like blah, 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 blah. He didn't understand anything that I said. And the teacher stepped in, he goes, listen, you know what? Obviously, public speaking is a fear of yours. I give you an A just for, facing the fear.
Yeah.
And then I took an improv acting class, and it was through that I started realizing this emotion that I'm having, this fear of performing on stage, is also the same emotion that I have when I get excited about performing on stage now. So it's like, woo, reframe, identify, reframe.
Yeah.
And it's these little patterns of behavior of identifying and reframing is the little keys that have been, stacked one on top of the other that's made the big difference in going from being 520 pounds and only being able to walk 2 blocks to losing 180 pounds and completing 7 2-hour walks so far. And I've got another 5 that I want to complete by the end of this year. So I've done 12 hour walks this year.
Phenomenal.
And then to top it off, I'm going to December 29th and December 30th, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Richard challenged me to do a 24-hour walk.
Oh, wow. Where?
Yeah.
Where are you going to do it?
I don't know yet. I'm thinking, part of me thinks I should just go down, from the starting point from Hastings and Wellington all the way down, walk down to Stanley Park, back up to Granville, and just walk all the way home. Or maybe do something a little bit more scenic, go down by UBC.
Oh, yeah, pretty. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, our time is almost up, and I'm going to have you back on again for sure. But I was going to ask you a question about, as a man who, embodies and you have profound transformation, what is the single most important action a client can take, right, to move from shame that keeps them isolated to be radically self honest and open those doors to healing? What is the single most important action?
The single most important action, I'd say it comes down to part of it is what you feed your mind,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely in my case, it'd be what I've fed my mind in terms of doing my morning and evening rituals of listening to the specific audios.
Right.
Because in there's one about there's a TV show that I watched on Amazon Prime. It's called Superhuman: The Invisible Made Visible,
Okay.
and one part is talking about how thoughts are things, as I know you mention all the time,
Yeah.
and what you focus on, you attract, and what you fuel your mind with, like this power belief. And then there's also another program about being your best you ever.
Mm.
And then Colin O'Brady's book. So he wrote a book called The 12 Hour Walk,
Right.
which my chiropractor recommended. And so Colin O'Brady, he's got 10 world records.
Oh my gosh.
And he was like an accident when he was, I don't know what age, but like 2007, 2008 ish. And he had burns all over his body and he was told he'd never walk again.
Oh wow.
And one of his dreams was to climb Mount Everest. And then eventually got to the point where he completed that hike and he climbed Mount Everest. And once he got to the top of that, he's like, well, there's so many more mountaintops for him to accomplish now.
Yeah.
And so then he went on and he's gotten 10 world records. So he's got his book, The 12-Hour Walk. And in it there's 12 different self-limiting beliefs
Mm-hmm.
that he talks about that he's had. And each chapter is about how he overcame that self-limiting belief.
Oh, fabulous.
So I'd say between like the different actions that I would say would be, I got David Goggins' audiobook, Can't Hurt Me. And then every time I'd go out and do my walks, I'd start doing eventually I started doing 2 45-minute walks a day for 75 days straight. And my body was getting sore, my feet, my ankles, my knees, my hips, my back. But then listening to David Goggins' audiobook, Can't Hurt Me, and the physical punishment that he put himself through, well, listening to the stuff he was suffering through, I'm like, it makes my pain not as bad. So I pushed through it. And then just listening to the audiobook of the 12-Hour Walk from Colin Brady, different supplementary beliefs that I have. Oh, well,
Mm-hmm.
this is how he overcame that. Okay, there is a way past, there is a way through. So just constantly feeding your mind of positive fuel or positive food, and then slowly start just, improving by 1%, committing to 100% improvement of 1% every day. By the end of the year, it's 365% improvement.
Yeah. Oh wow. Fabulous. I
So just
mean, really.
focusing on the little baby steps and then just fueling your mind with positive reinforcement from other people who've gone on and done things. Like this, one of the audios that I really enjoyed listening to it's called Superhuman. Michael Johnson, American gold medalist sprinter.
Mm-hmm.
There's a documentary called Superhuman, and I got a little audio snippet from it. And it's just part of it's media and him talking about, he set a goal, he went and achieved it. And bottom line is like, I believe in myself. I don't focus on all the hype. He doesn't focus on all the negativity. He doesn't focus on any of the press. He just focuses on, I believe in myself. I put in the time, energy, and effort. And eventually the energy, effort is going to pay off. And he became a gold champion or gold medal champion. So just looking for what positive people, successful people have accomplished, like Colin Brady. What do they do to fuel their minds? Listen to that and sort of just start, molding myself after them and following their footsteps. And that would be the biggest thing I could say for someone who's just starting out, wanting to lose a significant amount of weight, is feed your mind
Right.
healthy food.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. You're so right. And, you know, I'm just so proud of you because I've known you for so long. And I actually get teary because, yeah, I'm just really proud of you. And, as far as people needing certificates and credentials and all that, people want transformation. And that's why I called my podcast, Transformative Conversations, because people want transformation from people who have transformed. And, not the shingles on the shelf with the ABCs attached to it or all that. Yeah, okay, whatever. It's nice that you've done it. I've done it. But in the end, if I don't walk my talk, it's all bullshit. And, I'm not into bullshit. So, so,
Yeah.
so I am so excited to share you with our audience. And I am going to, can you just, you know, tell people while I've got you here, how they can get a hold of you? Because I know they will want to.
Yeah. The best way to get a hold of me, I'm on Instagram.
Okay.
It's at magnums_chronicles,
Okay.
or email right now is magnumschronicles@gmail.com.
Okay.
I've got a website. I'm still in the process of building the website right now.
Yeah.
So it's not, if you go to magnumschronicles.com, there's nothing there right now.
Right.
So a couple of weeks it'll be up and running again. I had it up for a little bit, had to take it down a little bit, working on it, and then I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
get it back up again. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so one of the things I'm doing right now is I'm at the process. I'm at the point of I'm starting my weight loss coaching business, and I'm looking for between 10 to 25 foundation clients
Okay.
who I can start working with.
Right.
People that want to lose 100 to 150 pounds, but I'm going to be doing this in two phases. So phase one is help people lose 50 pounds in 90 days to prove that my process works.
Right.
And then from there, it's going to be lose another 100 pounds, 150 pounds in the next 12 to 18 months, depending on how long it takes. So yeah, I'm looking for my first 10 to 25 foundation students who want to lose 50 pounds in 90 days using my
Okay.
MAGNUM method.
Mm-hmm.
So combining a carnivore diet with structured walking.
Right.
And these aren't going to be just clients. They're co-creators helping me refine the program
Right. Yeah.
while achieving their own transformation in the process. So
Absolutely. So there's a win-win for them too, because they get to be part of this whole making in the shaking in
yeah,
the making.
absolutely.
I love it. Okay, well, I will be also letting people know where they can get in touch with you, Michael, as well. But for now, I'm going to say keep up and you will be kept up, because I know you are keeping up. And I'm, again, so very proud of you and so grateful and humbled and honored to have you on my podcast, our podcast. And I know people are going to love you, because I do. So have a great, great evening.
Awesome. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Hun. Thank you.